Hi, Mark the Meerkat here from Grok Trade with two trades of the day. Any long or short trade will do? That's right. Two trades on any. That's right, a long trade and a short trade. So let's take a look at A and Y. Here it was at opening. In pre-market, it was moving around. It was up about 3% at market opening here. And then it got very volatile. It dropped, popped, and then dropped almost down to the zero line. We're now doing a bull pullback here. So I set a trade ready for the market to come to me, and boom, there it did. It popped up, and I'm in here now right at 635. 635 is where I got long on A and Y. Now I have a 1% attached stop just behind that here. So at 29, at 629 is where my stop is. And let's see where it went from there. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that, shot up here to 655 right away. And so I'm bringing my stop up here in the money. I'm in the money here under the 640 area. And love it when that happens. And look at the volume coming in. Went up here and then it tagged. This is the S1 pivot line. Pivot lines are for intraday trading only. They are calculated on the prior day's price action. So this is the S1 line. This is the R1 line, which is resistance line number 1. And it's a possible line of support and resistance. It hit it, it came back. So it was sitting here at the 660 area for like 3 minutes. So I went ahead and I took out half here at 658 for 3.6% on just the first half. So I changed the number of shares on my second half. I pulled my stop up here, and then let's see where it went here next. And it just sat up here. Now and then boom, it popped up above that resistance line right there. And I'm going to bring my stop up here to that 660, just under 660 area here. And look at that, now it broke out from there. So it was resistance here for 3 minutes. Then it broke out here, again on big volume, almost 1 million shares on volume. Bringing my stop up here just underneath this line, since it was resistance, could now be support. And what happened next here is it just sat up here, just kept tagging that line, and then bam, dropped down and stopped me out at 673 for 6% on the second half. So let's take a look at this total trade. By the way, you see this little yellow mark here? That is that's the current pricing on it here at 1:50 in the afternoon. This was at 9:50 in the morning, but it's right back to that price area here right now. That's what that little yellow is there, because I'm creating this after the fact. Anyway, so let's take a look at the whole trade here. It was a bull pullback here, started to run up here, and then boom, when it broke out, I got in. When it stalled here at the 660 area, I took out half, and then it took off again, and I was using this R1 pivot line as a possible support. As soon as it broke it, I was out. In fact, if I remember, it did end up dropping rather significantly there. No, it popped right back up. That was it. And then it did drop. So I was out here, and then eventually did drop over here. So this total trade was for 4.8% in 10 minutes. So before we get to the second trade here, if you'd like to learn to trade with us, you can just go to groktrade.com. groktrade.com, here it is, and go right up here to where it says a day trading chat room. So if you can be in front of the markets between, say, 9 o'clock and 11:30 in the mornings, that's Eastern time, you can come and be in our chat room and trade right along with us. We have a lot of beginning traders, we have a lot of very experienced traders, but we all share and try to have us be the best traders we can be. So here is, if you want to find out what my results were in the past year, right there is a full video of it, full disclosure on all that. And again, we start at 9 o'clock to sort through the 8,200 stocks and ETFs out there to find those few that we're going to focus on right when the market opens. They're different almost every day. And those we want to watch after the market opens. It may not be quite ready in pre-market. So we trade during the market hours. We just trade stocks and ETFs. And again, I call out where I want to get in. And then if I'm in the trade, I tell you, exactly where I'm in. I have a log sheet. And you can be going from there. Lots to read about it here if you'd like. There's even a free trading class you can go to on how to win at day trading without paying the big expensive fees. Click there. You can watch that webinar right there. And then again, you can join us for a monthly or for a full year subscription and get a cut on the deal. But either way, 7-day risk-free trial. Join us for 7 calendar days or 5 trading days. And if it works for you, hey, stick around. If it doesn't, no questions asked, get a refund. So that's a little bit of our advertising plug, and I'll show you what some of my results were here for this week here in the chat room at the end of the second trade. So let's get back to that second trade. Give me a second to set it up. Okay, here we are at the second trade now on any. Now, back here was the first trade. Right after opening, it ran up, and then when it pulled back and broke that pivot line, I was out. Then it was working its way up here, and it peaked up here and was sitting here just above $7, and then it started to fall, and the whole market was falling and falling very hard at this time. And so it popped up and hit its head right at $7 even amount again. So I set up a short trade and was ready to go here at 691. Now the problem was, to short it, it had to be on the uptick. The uptick rule was in effect, so it has to come back up to get me short. So here it was. Let's see what happened next. Next we had this, bam, look at this huge candle. As it fell down here, I did turn on I had to hit T to transmit my order, and then I pulled it down trying to get in, and then it did, during this down candle, it did tick back up and get me in at 688 is where I am short here on ANY. Now I have a 1% attached stop at 694 is where my 1% stop is, and it did continue down here and hit that 50 moving average, pierced it, and tagged this pivot line. Remember that pivot line from before, this S1 pivot line? But now it just tagged it and bounced off. Now it was resistance over here, and now it's support. Interesting. All right, so I went ahead and I tightened up my stop here off of the 1%, and now and then finally it dropped below this pivot, this R1 pivot line, dropped below it, bringing my stop here now in the money here on my stop, in the money here at 686, and then it dropped down here, and it was sitting here for a while at the 670 area. So I went ahead and I set up a trade, and I took out half here at 671 for 2.5% on the first half. There was actually one more candle just laying there, and then that candle just as after I took it out, it ended up dropping down here to the 655 support area, and now I took my stop and I cut the shares in half because I already took out half now, and putting it here just above 71 here in the money stop, in case it bounces right back up again. But it's staying down here below the 665 and the 655, kind of between the two. I brought my stop down here just above this 8 EMA, and this 65 seemed to be resistance, and so what happened next? Now it started to go back down here, so I brought it in here to 664. I was right at the 8 EMA here at 664, and popped right back up. Look at that. Now that might look like much, but that is a 3% run back up. 3%, what we call snapback, bouncing, kind of a double bottom here, then took off back up here, but it did stop me out at 664 for 3.5% on the second half. So let's take a look at this second trade on ANY. It was a short. It was falling, and the markets were falling. It did a bear pullback to the even $7 amount. I got in, and it stayed here, and then it dropped again, or it was stalling here, so I went in and I took out my half. Down here it did this arc. I was staying above the 8 EMA, and as soon as it broke out above that, I was out. Good thing I was, because it continued on for another 2% after that. So this total trade was for 3% in 13 minutes. Hooah! So ANY was good to us today. It was two of our biggest trades. So if you take a look at our results here we are. This is from today, September the 8th. And it started out with an AMC trade, and then SPRT, it was in there. But here it was, trade number 4, that 4.8% trade on the long side. And then later in the day, trade number 8 here for 3%, only this time to the short side. This is Mark the Meerkat. Hey, just remember, it's not what you know that counts, it's what you do. Trade well, and may your winners run.